Hello, I'm Jack Brown. I spent 30 years in the semiconductor market as an engineer, marketing, sales guy, and executive running large businesses. We made things smarter and connected. Today, I'm just as excited with what's going on in the grid that connects the power generated to where the power is used because today's smart grid is bidirectional, it's more reliable, and the demand on it has never been greater. And I want to share some things about that today. In our area, in fact, there are nine significant business opportunities that have been reported individually over the last year and a half. They came here for power, land, water, and people. And they needed the power most of all. Our land is affordable and they could get it close to where they could connect to power. So their time to open the door was faster because we had enough labor and we had enough water. So it's our time, and that's what we're going to talk about. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has a all of the above energy approach. We're open for business. You can get electricity and you can get what you need. And we got our eye on the ball on water. The past legislature, the next legislature that's currently in session, we're working on the water problem. We got a 50-year plan. It's been underway since the 1960s. So let's talk about these nine projects. They're all connected to the grid. The purple line are 138,000 volts. The data centers, the crypto, those guys want to locate it right around the 138,000 volts. The solar farms and the batteries are connecting up to the 345,000 volt lines because that's the voltage that they need. And we're going to talk about each of those on some of the following slides. I'm not going to take your time right now to drill down on them. And by the way, inside of the blue button here, where it says View Deals on Google Earth, if when you're ready to open a browser window, which will open the Google Earth application, and you will zoom in on this map on the left, and you'll be able to move around, advancing using those little buttons down on the left, the 9/25. If you click to the right, you will advance through each of those nine sites. Enjoy. ERCOT, the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, maintains a multi-year load forecast. This forecast shows a growth from 2024 out through 2030. 2030 will use 148 gigawatts as compared to 85 gigawatts used last year. It's an 8%, over an 8% cumulative average growth rate. The drivers are data centers, industrial growth, hydrogen manufacturing, and the electrification of the oil and gas business throughout the state. And what that's really done is in the last 20 years, the growth rate for electricity has been pretty flat. We've had a 2.2% growth in 2% growth for the 20 years of this century, uh, and it's been fueled with pretty flat electricity. And now we're starting to see growth for AI and growth for industry. And we want to keep Texas growing. So we've asked for people to be in my backyard. Data centers, there's 337 of them in Texas, 10% of those in the U.S. Virginia has 576. Texas is the number two state. The low hanging fruit in the cities next to those transmission lines has already been taken up in a lot of these urban areas. Stargate, which is supporting OpenAI, has Oracle and Microsoft and Crusoe Energy all involved. That's going in Abilene with 500,000 square feet. So this demand, if it didn't happen in our city, it's going to happen somewhere else. but it's going to start to happen out away from the cities because they need connections in a reasonable amount of time to these high voltage lines. And what's happening is the workloads that are going on, you have to train the AI, and then after you train the AI, you roll it out and you want it to talk to a bunch of users and you want it to do super fast answers. And then all of a sudden, you also want it to do really good answers. You want it to break the problem down into simple problems and be able to do more complex reasoning. And so each of these is such that computing demand is doubling every 5 months in a never ending fashion. Trends, technology trends are improving the performance. 1/4 of the general purpose processors with 1/4 of the power can do the work that was done in the same amount of time. So this is a scalable problem, and the more you have, the more you can sell. And in fact, here's another way of looking at it. Every generation, 2 generations in, you've had almost 1,000x improvement in performance for 3% of the power it took 2 generations ago to solve a problem. Why would it come here? Well, we have power that we can't get from where it's produced by wind and solar in the panhandle and the plains back into the urban cities because these 345 kilovolt lines don't have enough power to move back and forth across the state. And because of that, the fact that Oklahoma Union used to be a power generating facility built all of this great transmission capacity, 345 kilovolt transmission capacity, that totally surrounds Wichita Falls. And that means we've got great reliability for power right in our area. We have these purple 138,000 kilovolt lines, and inside of that, there are some blue lines like the ones that you see going up and down 287 that go out to the Triangle Brick Factory there between Henrietta and uh, Bellevue. So again, we've got a great outlook with the tax base, another 5.6 billion coming in, 740 million in construction's already underway. Yes, a lot has to happen before they start paying taxes, but pieces of it are visible. And if one of them washes out, somebody else has a similar problem that needs to be solved. And that was a great place to be. Where are we going in the future? Well, as I said, there's a challenge getting energy to the right places, east west as well as north south. So there's a plan that the PUC will make decisions on that will essentially add some capacity to manage the 2030 load. And there's parts of this plan that have the long range view of how do we dramatically increase the overall capacity of these power transmission lines. The next generation of technology could be applied. It would carry 5 times as much power in one line. That's a phenomenal update. This is for reference. So, economically, on the right side, the Comptroller's Office sees the state of Texas as 12 economic regions. The Golden Triangle, as some people call the Metroplex, down to Houston, over to San Antonio with Austin in there. That turns out that's 5 of the regions, and that's 77% of the Texas GDP is out of that one region. Wichita Falls in the Northwest region, ERCOT groups us with West Texas and the High Plains and what they call the West, and that's where that transmission line is going to solve some of the power problems. Right now, we're 11% of the GDP, but these opportunity to be a center of power is going to improve. And when we talk about nuclear energy, there's a play there as well. So these 9 projects, great news for our community. A f- you know, a few hundred jobs, 100 or 150 jobs per project. A number maybe 1,000 construction jobs per project. These projects, the data center projects, will be 5 year kind of horizons, 3 to 5 year horizons, perhaps even seven by the time they've done a couple of technology updates. So these are good jobs for our county, good asset investments, and a good future. In future versions of the newsletter, we're going to talk about what's going on in the nuclear world. Governor Abbott asked and received for a report that has a strategy to make Texas a leader in the advanced nuclear energy. A number of these directives have been delivered on the right to the legislative bodies for their actions in the current session. Number of advantages are shown. Perhaps another 150,000 jobs could be created with $50 billion economic output and $17 billion of income for people working in those jobs. There's a number of different state-of-the-art technologies that offer significant advantages and all of the learning of an industry that's gotten more and more reliable each year. The universities, Texas Tech, Abilene Christian College, Texas A&M, all of these are working with nuclear reactor guys, and specifically A&M system with their Riley campus has partnerships with 4 nuclear reactor groups asking the uh, federal regulatory agencies to get started on activities on those sites. So Texas runs on electricity. We give you weekly updates. We're going to talk about storm outages and what an encore response looks like and how that works. We're going to give you a deeper insight into hyperscaling data centers with a lot of references if you want to go even deeper. And I'm going to help you start to surf down into AI. We'll do the first of a series. We'll probably do one every month. 1 week out of the month, we'll talk about AI. And then we'll finish off this month with small modular reactors. So you understand why is that, where the buzz is, and the fact that 4 or 5 semi trucks could bring in a nuclear reactor that could power the city of Wichita Falls, and it could get set up over a weekend or so. You might have done a 6 months worth of site work ahead of time, but it could be that quick. So here's the projects. There's more slides behind it. Enjoy. Have a great day.